just inhale the positivity, like all of the positive energy in this bag right now. Just, oh, so much sage in this bitch. I love it. Hey Brujas, welcome back to my channel. So after I posted our rap and chat yesterday, I got a ton of messages about sage, what I use it for, what it's good for, all of that great stuff. So I wanted to jump in and talk about sage very quickly today. So that's what we're going to do for this Vlogmas video. So right now I'm burning some white sage that was gifted to me from my friend Jen in California. It smells sweet and beautiful, and it's honestly the best white sage I've had in a while. So I'm just going to burn this just to spread the positive vibes while I talk to you guys about sage and how beautiful of a plant it is. So I want to start off by saying that a lot of people know white sage is endangered-ish. You know, we need to be very careful about how we're harvesting this plant, just like any other plant. So there's plenty alternatives to using white sage. There's lavender, there's different types of sage, there's pine, cedar, there's tons of herbs that you can burn to replace sage. You don't have to use sage to cleanse. There's tons of other herbs you can burn, and I'll probably do a whole video about that at some other point. But the most common way we see sage is the wand, like we wrapped together yesterday. It is usually a bundle of dried sage leaves tied together by some sort of twine or rope together. But this is not the only way you can get sage, and this is not the only way you can burn it either. You can light the whole wand. You can break off leaves here and there and burn the leaves. You can also buy little charcoal tablets, light the charcoal tablets, and just sprinkle dry sage on top. I personally prefer the wands. They are easy to burn, but they are a little bit hard to put out once you light them. But they just look beautiful to me. I just get a whole peaceful joy wrapping them. So that's why they're my favorite method of burning sage. And I burned the crap out of my tablecloth. Didn't even realize it. That is going to bother me. So I'm going to cover it with something. Got to cover it with something. No, it's not going to work. So I'm going to put this little tiny piece of pyrite here so that it doesn't distract me this whole video, because it will really mess with me. I'm so sorry, Brujas. So anyway, yeah, sage wands are definitely my favorite way to go, but you can definitely burn it how I just burned it. Light the leaves, put it in a little small smudge pot. I got this little planter from Bad Batch on Instagram. I will add her below, and I will post the link to her shop because she has really cute stuff in there. But yeah, this is how I burn it sometimes when I don't want to light a whole wand. But sage really brings a positive energy in the space. There's even scientific evidence proven that it changes the ion factor in the air to make it more positive. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to act like it. I know all of this stuff, but I've heard about it, and I've heard that it actually does change the air. So it really does work. And I just feel overall calmness whenever I burn sage. Another question I got was, how do I use it and what do I use it for? I like to use sage to cleanse energy, to cleanse a space, just to kind of release any negativity. I use it to cleanse a lot of my spiritual tools, but I do use two different types of sage. This one that I'm burning, like I said, is white sage. But as you guys, if you follow me on Instagram and Twitter and such, know, I've been using green sage for quite a while. This is a more budget-friendly option. You can find green sage in almost any supermarket. If you go to like a Hispanic supermarket, here we have Compare, and in New York, I know you can find it in Food Bazaar and Seatown and stuff like that. It's with the herbs, it's a budget-friendly option because it costs like $1.99 as opposed to having to go online and buy white sage. They also look different and dry differently. White sage tends to get a little bit more stiff than than green sage does, and it just is a little bit more crisp. Even at the driest point of green sage, it doesn't reach that same crispy texture that the white sage does. But getting back into why I use it and what I use it for, I use sage to get rid of any negative energy. I burn it almost every day. I do it before I meditate. To me, burning sage gives me a clean slate of energy. I burn it, let the smoke cloud up. A lot of people don't agree with doing it this way, but I let all the smoke get smoky and then I open the windows and let it disperse that way, because I feel like that way all the negativity is being released. And then I will continue burning the sage as the windows are open, but it's just a little visual for me to actually see all of the smoke leaving my space, and I just associate that with the negativity vanishing as well. So I'm not very familiar with using sage to cleanse auras. That was another question that I was asked. I will research it and do a video on that at a later time. But as far as me and personally why I use sage, these are all of the reasons that I use it. It's really just a calming herb to me. And another question that I got, which is also something that I thought was really important, because one girl messaged me saying, hey, I live in the dorms on campus and I cannot burn sage, but I want to bring it into my space. A way to bring sage into your space without burning it is you can always buy a sage plant and just, take care of it and have it grow in your space. The herb just being there will give off positive vibes. Another thing I like to do is to take a dry sage bundle or just a couple of leaves and actually tie it to my shower head. This also works really well during the cold seasons with eucalyptus, because as the steam of the shower, if you take really hot showers like me, as the steam of the shower builds, the aroma of the herbs will build as well. And even though it's not air quotes smoke, it will still give the same effect. So that's something that I always recommend to people in the dorms. That's what I used to do when I lived in campus. I used to just bring a little bit of sage with me into the shower and tie it to the shower head. You can use a rubber band, you can use a scrunchie, just tie it up there and, leave it up there. If you have a community bathroom, you can just tie it up there while you're taking a shower, but that's definitely an alternative to burning it. Sage candles are always an option, but if you cannot burn candles either, I always recommend getting a candle warmer. Boom. So you can buy a sage candle and a candle warmer. You don't have to burn the candle and it will still release the sage smell. And yeah, I think that covers most of the questions that I got asked about sage. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment them down below. Message me on Instagram or Twitter. I'm always happy to help. And like I said, any herb set with intention can do the job. So let's just say you can't get any sage, but you can get tons of basil or bay leaves, because those are sold at almost every supermarket. Just buy them, set them with the intention that you want to cleanse your space, cleanse negativity. These herbs already have these qualities, and then boom, you can use it for that. Before I was really able to buy a lot of my herbs, I used to take pine. I have tons of pine trees around my house, and I used to take the pine and bind it up and dry it and use that. So whatever you can get your hands on, set with the right intentions, will get the job done. Don't get too focused on buying sage for negativity and lavender for calm and rose for love, and just set the intention and burn the herb, because it's all about you and the energy you put into the plant. Not, while plants do have the meanings, you can still get the job done if you set the intent. So I hope this answered any questions. I will see y'all again for another Vlogmas video tomorrow. And I hope y'all had a great week and had a great weekend. So I will see y'all tomorrow, Brujas.